You have to want to be saved. You have to want to be saved. I made a video with this title last year on the 1st of May. Last year was 2023, so 24 now. It's June now, 2024. Last year in May, I made this video called Avoid Becoming Collateral Damage. You have to want to be saved. And I'm repeating that same message again. You have to want to be saved. If you are sleeping and the fire alarm goes off, you have to check what goes on. If the building's on fire, you have to get up. Even if it's not on fire, the fire alarm goes off, you need to go out. If you have a spouse or you have children that you need to look after or a relative, wake them up too to get out. You can't say, man, let me sleep. I just want to be left alone. No. I mean, if you are, let's say you're crossing the road. You obey the traffic rules. But some drunk driver begins to rush towards you out of the blue. He doesn't even see you. You run away. You don't stand there. You run away. You have to want to be saved. What I'm saying is that as human beings, we have a bodily balance. If your body lacks nutrition, you become hungry. If your body is exhausted, you become sleepy. If your body needs hydration, you become thirsty. So you can, as a human being, go against your instinct for practical reasons. For example, let's say you're fasting or you're sporting, then you delay drinking water or you delay eating food. You shouldn't do it for too long because you'll be endangering yourself. Just know that we have a balance in our bodies. It's bodily intelligence. All human beings have it. You also have a spiritual balance that needs to be kept on an emotional and intellectual level. So if you hang out with people and continuously feel devalued by them, you need to start asking yourself, why am I with these people who keep devaluing me? Or is it me that feel disvalued? What's wrong with me that I keep interpreting that way? So as a human being, you need balance, both on the spiritual and on the physical level. Only then will you remain healthy and functional. So any time your human balance is disrupted, it's up to you, the human being, to admit your balance has been disrupted and to check what goes on. Was it disrupted by yourself because you are dysfunctional or you have wrong expectations? Then face yourself in the mirror, admit you're wrong, and also admit your deficiencies and your defects and look for help. There's nothing embarrassing with admitting wrong or admitting that you need help. That's your responsibility. You have to admit to yourself that you need help, that you need to be better. And you also have the obligation to be better because you ought to be a safe and trustworthy human being towards other human beings. I mean, it's fair. I mean, others ought to be safe and trustworthy towards you. You have to be the same towards them. Now, apart from that, if you figure out that it's not you, that means there's something or someone in the environment that disrupted your balance. Now, don't go out there as a crybaby attacking them, throwing tantrums to feel better, because you may end up being arrested by the police, you end up in prison for assault, whatever. I'm not telling you to do that. Just know, if it's not you, address the fact to yourself that something or someone outside of you disrupted your balance, and then go out there and check what it is. Once you figure out what it is, as far as it depends on you, do something about it to improve the situation. If you can't do something about it directly because of legal restrictions or because, it's not smart for you to intervene, then don't do that. In that case, ask for help or ask others who are capable to intervene, or just leave the situation altogether. At least then you are safe. What I'm telling you is that your responsibility and primary obligation as a human being is to pay attention to your human instincts so that anytime your balance is disrupted, you act for your own well-being and the well-being of other people. That's natural, that's healthy. Unfortunately, in the world, it often happens that people lack this self-worth. They don't really value themselves. So even when they notice something is off, even when they notice their human balance has been disrupted, instead of owning up to themselves that they're out of balance, instead of admitting it may be them or maybe other people, it doesn't matter whether it's you or other people. You have to admit you are not imbalanced now, and that's risky and dangerous. Because when you are dysfunctional in the long run, it opens doors to accidents, accusation, or abuse, or type of other stuff. I'm saying that you become the abuser, but you can be taken advantage of other people if you're dysfunctional in the long run. So you being in balance is quite important. And if the people you have around you don't value their own balance nor yours, then why are you still around them? You can love them from a distance and pray for them, but you can't be involved with them if they are not healthy and safe to be involved with. Simple as that. The only time you should have contact with toxic or dangerous people is if you're a police officer interrogating them, or if you are a psychiatrist or therapist giving them therapy. Even then, it's in a controlled setting. But even then, you're not actually involved directly with them. What I'm saying is, you have to want to be saved. With too many people out there in the world, they have gotten used to being out of balance. Being out of balance is their normal. Whereas being out of balance, though, to their job, the 9 to 5 drains them, and they barely get enough sleep, and they're less functional as they should be as human beings. But hey, because they get paid at the end of the month, and they're never arrested by the police, they have no criminal record, they think, oh, I ended up well. Some are out of balance because they haven't processed childhood trauma. Whether your parents meant it or not, if they did things that harmed you, it happened. Okay? If they didn't know any better, they did the best they could, then they were just dysfunctional, and their dysfunction damaged you. If they were evil and toxic people, okay, now you know what you're dealing with. Now you need to get away from them as soon as possible. Anyway, whether it was out of where it was by a where it was, how to say, where it was that they intended it for wrong or not doesn't matter. If your parents and those that raise you, because not only your parents raise you, it's all the environment raise you. If the people that raise you damage you one way or the other, you need to admit it, own up to it. I don't give a damn whether they're narcissists or not, whether they did it on purpose or not. You are damaged and you have to become better. Some people are out of balance because they won't own up to the community doing them dirty. If the community did you dirty, or if the community neglected you, we're all community creatures. So the community neglecting you, it's a grievous crime. Now, some neglect are punishable by law in the world, others are not, because the legal systems of the world cannot prevent abuse. They can only regulate abuse by punishing some abuse that goes too far. Because the laws of the land and the courthouse and the police cannot improve and change people for the better. They can't do that. They can only restrain them by scaring them off with punishments. And that often doesn't even work. But I'm not going into that right now. What I'm saying is, if you're out of balance due to childhood trauma that's haunting you, you need to admit it. It doesn't have to be a big trauma like sexual molestation. It can also be, for example, your parents were quite insensitive. Or it can also be that the people around you were quite dismissive of you. Whatever it is, if you're out of balance due to being damaged while growing up, you need to own up to it and look for help and become better. Stop saying, well, I ended up well, just because we hold on to some tradition. Especially people that are from religious backgrounds, where you're told that unconditionally you have to speak well of your parents. Now, I don't advocate you trash talking your parents, absolutely not. Just know, if your parents were not the best, if they neglected you, I don't talk about dysfunction, if they were really neglectful, I'm sorry, but you can't talk good about that. For you to honor them would mean you agree with how they abuse you. That means you agree with how they damage you, and you're actually saying that people have a right to damage you. What the heck are you doing? You shouldn't do that. So, if you're out of balance, and it has to do with how you were raised, I don't care whether it was your parents or other caretakers or the people in the environment that caused damage to you, admit you've been damaged, admit you need help, admit you become better, and improve. You have to want to be saved. Another thing, you may be out of balance because of your partner. If your spouse that you're living with is not taking her or his own well-being seriously, and they won't own up to anything, they won't go to therapy, none of that, I'm sorry. If your spouse refuses to improve for her or his own well-being and yours, because you're in it together, it's not just about them or not just about you, you're in it together, happy house Happy spouse, happy house is how it goes. It's not happy wife, happy life. No. It's happy spouse, happy house. You know what I mean? You're in it together. So if your spouse does not improve, eventually you have to consider whether that marriage still works well. Now, I'm not a marriage counselor, okay? You still have to go into counseling and all of that. You still need to pray about this, absolutely, and make a decision for yourself. Just know that if the situation is unsafe and you're out of balance because of it, admit you're out of balance and something needs to be done about it. Simple as that. Look, too many believers, I'm not even talking about people from the world now, I'm talking about believers now. They are used to being out of balance. As a matter of fact, they even normalize being out of balance. They do this to men a lot. Oh, just man up. Stop complaining, stop murmuring, stop bitching, just take it. I mean, I understand. You expect men to take risks. You expect men to be manly, masculine, and not to be too quick to complain and all that. I understand you don't want men to be crybabies. I understand that part. Just realize men are community creatures too. They're vulnerable too. And in the past, it was the norm that men just have to shut their mouths, act like everything is fine, and continue because nobody wants to hear them complain. So men were told by society they don't really matter only when they can provide relief, either through hard work or as an outlet. So that's how it went in the past. So a lot of men had this good performance, like everything's fine. But at the same time, you had a lot of health issues, a lot of suicides happened. Oh, and by the way, if you're heading in that direction, please call for help immediately. Go to a psychologist, therapist, whatever you need to get help, okay? But anyway, you had all these issues with men. Now today, a lot of men are open about things not going well. Now some go quite far, always bitching, complaining. Well, that goes too far. I can understand people are turned off by that, but you can't compare the men that go off complaining with men from the past who just remain silent just to please the public at their own expense. Some people say, Rashid, I prefer how men were traditional in the 1950s and before. No, how they did it back then was harmful. Now, how they doing today? Always complaining a lot. That's what a lot of men do. Complaining. Even on social media, that's not how it should be. But it also should not be how it used to be. You know what I mean? There needs to be balance. But this thing, for a lot of men, being out of balance is a norm. Because that's what they call being a man. I'm telling you, that's not the case. Look, I can make this video last for hours. I'm not going to do that. Also, as a woman, okay, you need to be in balance. So, yes, you're a woman, so you ought to be feminine, all of that. That also means that the community ought to look after you. If there's no community care towards you, it needs to be called out. There are a lot of women out there who are act like everything is fine just to please everyone else. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with pleasing other people. That's healthy, that's natural. But toxic people pleasing is not okay. If you're out of balance and you're doing your part, that means that the rest of the people aren't doing their part. If you're doing your part, but others around you aren't doing their part, something is wrong, it needs to be addressed. And something needs to be done about it. For you to act like it's perfectly fine because you don't want to escalate the situation further, that means that you're operating in fear. That means you're likely being blackmailed. Simple as that. And for you to stay in that situation means that you become part of the bad situation. And now you're perpetrating the evil on others around you. No. Be real towards yourself. I'm not saying to confront everyone around you because some people are very volatile. They can't handle being confronted, so they just lose it. I'm not telling you to do that. Stay peaceful, stay constructive. And to remain peaceful and constructive, you need to admit it to yourself. And you have to want to be saved. This video is not about salvation, about itself, because salvation is a gift from God through Christ. I'm not talking about that. Being saved in this video means being saved from harm, means being saved from danger. You have to want to be saved. So if someone does not have desire to be saved, I'm telling you, you're in big trouble over there. You are in big trouble. Again, self-reflect, self-correct. And when you need correction from others, receive correction from others. Okay? If they don't mean well with you, that's their problem. You continue. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.